Welcome, a big wingman welcome to the wingman's path, to positivity, to raising your vibration, and you know it, to building a life of your choosing. How great is that, right? What a path we found here. The wingman's path to positivity, to raising your vibration, and to building a life of your choosing. I love that. I love that, and I love that you're joining me today, and I appreciate you being here with me, because I know and you know that the more of us that get together and raise our vibration together and bring more positivity into our group, our little community, right? The more our community spreads, and the more we start bringing, it's easier for each of us to bring in that positive energy into our own lives, and even better at the lives of our families and our friends and our loved ones and our neighbors and our communities. So I thank you for sharing these practices with your communities. And I thank you for raising your vibration with me and sharing your energy with me today. Today's practice is, as you can see by the title, what's going right with you, right? So here's the question that whenever I'm walking with someone and you see someone you know, or someone calls you and you say, hi, how you doing? How are you? Or in my neighborhood, I guess we used to say, how you doing? How you doing? Or hi, how are you, right? And most times you get an answer like, I'm fine, how are you? But as I've noticed often the case, and this I was reminded of it yesterday when I forgot to ask what's going right, and I just said, how are you? You know, and someone started giving me a list of all the negatives. They gave me what was going wrong with them, right? Now, I'm not saying that I don't want to, I don't want to hear about what's going wrong, and I don't want to try and help my friends and you with whatever's going wrong. But I also find the best way to help is to get you sometimes, get you out of your own head and out of focusing on the negatives. So many of us focus on the negatives, and of course you know it and I know it, what we focus on expands, right? So we start focusing on, my sciatica or my elbow or this or that. And we start getting more into a negative head frame. And what happens, of course, the universe matches it and gives us more to be negative about, right? I was very well reminded of it again this morning, because as I was walking, taking my morning walk, I ran into an elder gentleman, and he said to me, hi, how are you? And I said, I'm great. What's going right with you? And he looked at me for a second, like a little bit like taken back, as opposed to me saying, how are you? Of course, I said, what's going right with you? And he said, well, I'm mostly healthy, I guess. And I was like, hey, that's great. That's great. I started laughing because I thought, he's mostly healthy. Now, if I would have said to him, how are you? He most likely would have led off with what was going wrong with him, right? What health issues he had that was wrong. But when I said, what's going right? And he said, I'm mostly healthy. Don't you hear the difference in energy there, right? Don't you hear the difference? Like, it's a positive energy versus a negative energy. And what happens, of course, just like we spoke about yesterday, momentum. If you can start thinking or looking at the positives a little bit more, well, you start raising your vibration. And when you do that, of course, the universe matches it. Now, I'm not saying if you've been sitting in negative energy for the last 50 years, 1 minute of practice is going to change it. But it's going to be a start. What do they say? A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Let's take the single step as soon as we meet someone, and let's get it into our head, our subconscious, to say to them, instead of how are you, what's going right? Hi, what's going right with you? Or what's going right with you? Let's say it together, and as we say it to back and forth to each other, I want you to think about what's going right with you, right? What's going right with you? Because then that gets you feeling positive and moving in a positive direction. And I can assure you, we know how easy it is to slip off the path, to get tripped up and fall off the wingman's path of positivity and start finding the negatives in your life. And when you do, of course, you're going to find more and more negatives. When you search for negatives, you're going to see negatives. And when you search for positives and start saying what's going right with you, you're going to start seeing more positives and start feeling better. So let's do that. Let's practice that today, just by saying, hi, what's going right with you? Or what's going right with you today? And let's see how that feels. And let's practice the feeling of thinking about all the things that are going right for us. That's right. Let's breathe it in. What's going right? Hi, what's going right with you today? As simple as that, right? Thanks for joining me. What's going right with you today? Hi, what's going right with you today? What's well with you, right? What's going right with you? You feel the difference between how are you and then you might come back with some negative energy to what's going right, right? And are you focusing on what's going right with you as you're saying it? What's going right with you? Think of the things that are going right with you right now, today. And as you think of them, you're going to notice they start expanding and you start feeling better and noticing more and more things going right. Like the gentleman I saw today. What's going right? I'm mostly healthy. That's great. Let's focus on the mostly healthy part, right? What is going right with you today? You know, I started this practice a while ago and I've forgotten about it and haven't used it, and I've noticed it over the past couple of weeks that every time I'm saying, how are you, I'm getting hit with some negative energy. So that's why this came back to me today. And I'm so glad you're joining me for What's Going Right with You today. It's a great practice, and it's a great practice to get into your subconscious, right? So I thank you for joining me. I thank you for joining me today on the Wingman's Path. And I thank you for sharing these practices and these videos and these good vibrations with your loved ones and your neighbors and your families and your friends and your community, because I love how our community is growing, our community of positive energy. And I know it makes it that much easier for all of us and each of us to start living the life of our choosing. Have a wonderful day today, one where you recognize what's going right with you. And you even ask some people what's going right with them today. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Your Wingman Michael, signing off from the Wingman's Path here in Providence, Rhode Island. Enjoy your day.